Certainly, give credit to Washington State. They beat us today, and there's certainly, we didn't. You got to play the game, and the object is to score one or more points, and we didn't do that, and we didn't score enough to give ourselves a real good chance. And I think that, you look at it, and there's, a game like this, everyone owns it, starting with myself and each and every person in that locker room. And it can be, an early season game like this, it can be an opportunity, right, to reinforce and to drive and whatever that may be. Because, we did some things today that make it hard to win. And, I think we're double digits in penalties. Certainly had a couple turnovers, and I think, I'm kicking myself for, going forward on 4th and 3. We got a 3rd and 1, and we get stopped right there, and like to have that one back. You kind of set them up with a shorter field, and I think you just look at not often you see in a game, two turnovers that are then turned back over, and they were opportunistic and end up, I think, scoring off of theirs, and we ended up getting one, and we end up turning the ball over, again, I think there's a lot of guys put, I'm not questioning effort and not questioning anything there. I felt like guys were playing hard, but we you gotta make it to where you're playing the opponent and not doing some things to hurt yourself. And so obviously we gotta be better and can be better.
Jeff?
In that 4th down call, generally in a tight game, you've punted and said my defense is going to pin those guys down there. Why the change? Why just the decision to go for it today? What did you feel?
Yeah, I mean it's again, I do have confidence in our defense, and I thought that, you're in a position where if you feel good too, and you're offensively to, all right, this is when you gotta deliver on it, and I know a lot of it's result driven, right? That you go but I think that was the thought. I thought I still do feel confident with our defense certainly, and want to put on the offense. This is you got to go do something too to win.
Paul, over the last few years, this defense has been so good at when something bad happens, what turnover, whatever it ends up being able to get the quick stop after. What do you think were some of the things today that they just weren't able to convert some of those chances into stops?
Yeah, I mean, we had one early, right? Again, I think it was their first drive, and they came up and it was a big play, and I thought there was moments in the game where I thought each side fed off each other well, certainly the end of the first half, and I felt like each one kind of was setting the other side up, and that's how you want to play the game. And then, I think you go and you take a look at the way the second half starts, and we give up a big return, and then I thought our defense did bow up there, and they've got a field goal attempt, but it was a short field, and then offensively come out and we get the 15-yard penalty, and it was just didn't help ourselves, and so I think that certainly we have made some plays, and yet you're gonna look at it and it's still you got to score points to win, and we gave up 14 or 17. We score 14. We got to be better.
Coach, Vito missed a couple field goals, and I guess just wanted to get your thoughts on, if you saw anything that maybe, what went wrong on those kicks. Do you have any idea?
Yeah, I don't. Certainly, those. games like this, those are all big, right? And I don't know what happened on the second one because that didn't have a chance. You know, in the first one, you know, certainly didn't push us. So I don't know specifically on that one. You know, he's been good in practice and, you know, what we've had, but certainly like to be better. You know, need to be. That can be the difference.
Jeff.
Paul, I guess sometimes in practice you can see if your offensive line is not doing things cleanly. You know, they had a bunch of penalties today.
Yeah.
I think 4 of them involving guys. Did you see that in practice, or is this today just a case of guys making plays against you, so they had to grab, reach, things like that?
Probably a little bit of both, right? I mean, you certainly, you can say what you want, but game day you're going to have a lot, the speed, right? The speed of it's different. But, you know, I thought we had one unnecessary, you know, we're on the edge and we get called for a holding and you've accomplished what you need to get the play going, you know? So I think there's a sense to how you play. And, you know, we had a hands to the face, you know, on another big one. You know, we jump off sides. We got to, you know, another one. I'm anxious to see those plays because it's not that you're going to change it, but you know, to your point, what are we got to practice right, and are we doing that? And you know, how can you help? This has got to be one that you know, that burns and stings to where it drives you to get better.
Paul, why do you think you weren't able to run the ball consistently today?
You know, I think that you know, always you're going to give them credit, right? I mean, they've got a piece of it, and I think that, you know, you had moments. We got one, you know, third and short, and we're you know, we don't get our puller around, you know, and it's not just on the puller. It's you know, are we getting movement at the line to allow the puller to go through? You know, I think that, you know, are we climbing on the backside? You know, we didn't get some things started early, and we're getting chased down on the back. You know, we've got to be better at point of attack. I saw that on a couple runs, and then, you know, you got to create some rhythm. I thought, you know, a little bit inconsistent even on the third downs where you can start to get in a flow and get going. And, you know, when you can do that, then you're going to start running the ball well. And I thought we were just kind of all over the place that way.
Paul, when you're facing an offense like this that's going to spread you out and force your defense to communicate so much, does it make it hard to play as many young guys and new guys that you had to, just with the injuries in your roster this year?
Yeah, I mean, it does. You know, each offense is gonna test you a little bit differently, and certainly this was one of those. And the week that we had, where, you know, the eye discipline and the communication was gonna be important, and yet I still feel after the game, you know, that the guys they understood what they were doing. You know, I mean, they weren't put in an unfavorable position that way, and certainly there's times where, you know, when you're in space and I think everyone in here knows that, you know, when you face a team that spreads it out, you're going to have more single tackles, you know, and that's where you've got to try to, you know, one, make those tackles, two, slow it down, and then the guys got to react back to it, you know. But you do have to play with really, really good discipline, you know, until the play dictates it's, you know, the ball is dictated where it's going, but I thought that I don't know right now that you say, you know, we had some because the young guys, you know, are busts because of, you know, not doing what we should be doing. That didn't seem to be the case as much to me.
Jim?
Paul, it didn't end up mattering because you scored on it, but you had a delay of game penalty out of a timeout.
Yeah.
What happened there?
I mean, you know, we had it and we gave the play early, and you know, it shouldn't happen, right? I mean, it shouldn't happen, and wasn't like you know, had a wrong personnel group in there, and I think we just got to make sure that everyone's in tune. You know, that all right, we're going, and you know, I thought we had a couple, you know, like that were just kind of down at the. We were pushing the clock a little bit, but certainly coming out of you know, from the sideline, and as everyone knew the play, everyone knew the personnel, shouldn't happen.
Call.
Paul, how would you assess Graham's play? Obviously, without the benefit of being able to watch the film, but especially on the deeper passes, seemed like he was giving receivers chances, and some good things happened from those.
Yeah, I thought he did, and I thought that a couple times I thought he pushed it down there when I thought there was something else, maybe a little bit higher percentage. So I am anxious to watch that and see if I was seeing it correctly. And I thought, there's certain times where we knew they were bringing the pressure, and I thought, a couple times he handled it. I thought line did a good job, line backs and tight ends did a good job of giving him time to it. But I think there was a stretch. Really, K. Lewis was the first one that we hit. End of the first half. I think we were 0 for 4 on kind of, and I see it, but you gotta deliver. But I thought there was some other throws there too, and I thought that he was seeing things clean. I thought that part was pretty good on his end.
Jeff. Paul, there were some times when the ball came out of Washington State's quarterback's hands really quickly.
Yeah.
But there were also some other times where it looked like you guys did a good job in the back end, but you didn't get a hold in the pass rush. Is that something that you saw as well, that you need to heat that guy up a little bit more than you did today?
Yeah, and he did a nice job of kind of he'd step up and then he'd work back out, and you can tell it's a guy that's played a lot of football, and he kind of understood the situations. Even he'd get out and try to extend it as much as he could, and wasn't afraid to throw it out out of bounds. And I thought that, like you said, there was times where kind of whether it's RPO or kind of those quick screen game that they did a good job with that, and I thought there's times when we defended it well, and but I think he is a good quarterback. We thought that going in, and still think that today.